God must continue to carry on his providence until its fulfillment, even though it may require him to choose another person to shoulder the mission. For example, God willed that his purpose of creation be fulfilled through Adam. Although this did not come to pass, God's predestination of this providential will has remained absolute. Hence, God sent Jesus as the second Adam, and attempted to fulfill the will through him, when Jesus also could not bring about the complete fulfillment of the will. Due to the disbelief of the Jewish people, he promised he would return and fulfill it without fail. Likewise, God's will was to establish the family foundation for the Messiah through the dispensation based on Cain and Abel. When Cain killed Abel and this will was not fulfilled, God made another attempt to fulfill it through Noah's family. When Noah's family also failed to fulfill the will, God chose Abraham as yet another replacement and worked through him. We also see this with respect to the missions of individuals. God tried to remedy the failure to fulfill his will through Abel by choosing Seth as his replacement. God tried to fulfill his will, left unaccomplished by Moses, by choosing Joshua in his stead, when God's will for Judas Iscariot was nullified by his betrayal of Jesus. God made a second attempt to fulfill this will by electing Matthias in his place. Section 2. The predestination of the way in which God's will is fulfilled. According to the principle of creation, God's purpose of creation can be realized only when human beings complete their portion of responsibility. Although God's will to realize this purpose through the providence of restoration is absolute and beyond human influence, its fulfillment necessarily requires the accomplishment of the human portion of responsibility. Originally, God's purpose of creation was to be fulfilled through Adam and Eve only when they completed their given responsibility and refrained from eating the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Similarly, in the providence of restoration, God's will is accomplished only when the central figure responsible for a mission completes his portion of responsibility. For example, the Jewish people, as the central nation of the providence, should have believed in Jesus and followed him unconditionally in order for God to accomplish complete salvation at that time. Because they disbelieved and failed to fulfill their responsibility, the fulfillment of the will had to be postponed until the time of the second advent. To what extent does God predestine the unfolding of the events in the providence?